Good afternoon. Thank you everybody for coming out. As we've said before, we all know everybody's busy, and this is an issue that needs to be addressed on many factors. I myself, I got involved working with Kyle and everybody with court reform about 4 months ago or so. I've been going through the divorce process for about a year, and it's been a major custody fight throughout the whole thing. That's the only thing lingering in my divorce is custody battle. And I've been put through everything from restraining orders to just allegations of being mentally unstable, using things from my past from 8 years ago that is still she's trying to use against me to keep me away from my son. I currently can't see my son due to fighting things, and the trouble with it is I'm not having to fight to prove somebody else is unfit. I'm having to fight to prove that I am fit despite everything. The same court commissioners and the same judges who are keeping me from seeing my oldest child, who's almost 9 years old now, just granted me and finalized adoption for Alex, who's almost 4. So how is that I can't see one of my kids, but you can grant me full access and allow me to adopt another child, but then turn around and say I'm unfit to see my 9-year-old? It just doesn't make any sense. The whole court process, you can provide facts. It's all up to the commissioners and judges. They have free reign to decide what they want to do and what they can't do and just don't feel like doing. Much like Mike, it doesn't matter what you do, and you show proof of everything. And they just decide.
We don't elect those commissioners.
That's right.
So we can't elect them off. You can start interrupting.
No, and you're right. We don't elect them, and we can't elect them off. And the process of going through and getting a new commissioner in this county is absurd. You cannot go any other county that I've researched in. You file a motion, you go in front of the court, explain what your issue is, and you have the chance to get a new judge or commissioner. Thurston County, you have to take it up with that commissioner, and it's based on that commissioner if they feel you have the right, or if the grounds stay that they no longer be on your case. But again, that goes back to the same thing. How is it that you can get awarded an adoption and finalized by the exact same commissioners keeping you from seeing your other children? We know what it looks like to have a dad in the family who doesn't want anything to do with him. Alex's biological father, nothing. Not a phone call, not a text, even though she reached out to him 2, 3, 4 times every year. Nothing. But I have to fight just to see my kids for that couple of hours every week. And then, as it was mentioned before, the financial strengths. I'm retired from the Army medically. I currently work. I'm not working at the moment, trying to get everything going, and I basically live off my pension. Not very much. After my child support comes out, I'm left with enough money to pay my rent, and that's about it. So despite everything, and part of the reason I can't work is due to the strengths and the protection order that she sought and got. Because again, the family court, it's not based on evidence. It's based on what a judge and what a commissioner feel like they want to do. And again, like Mike said, evaluation after evaluation. They don't get the answer they want for the outcome they want. They send you to another person. And what happens when you go outside of the county or outside of their list of people that are okay for this county? They make you go to another one because the answer is not what they want, and the people that aren't on that list don't recommend what they think is right. It's crazy. It needs to be brought under control. And this is the first step to getting there. Without this reform, it's just going to continue on and on and on. And you can see it over time, how much it just keeps getting worse. So when does it get better? Why are we going to sit and let our kids go through the same issues we're trying to deal with? Now's the time to change it. You know, it may not help me. This whole process may not help me get to see my son next week. It may not help me get to see him in the next year. But I know if my son has issues, all 3 of my boys, when they get older and they come to a crossroad, it's going to be dealt with. It'll be under control. They'll be able to take the needed steps to do what they need to do to see their children and be providers and, do what they're supposed to do in life, succeed. Right now, the court system keeps us from succeeding. We can't move forward because they don't let us, no matter how much you try to prove that we should be able to. Yet I've seen parents here in Thurston County, mother, 3 children, her whole apartment complex and her house was raided by SWAT team. Guess who still has her children? Ordered by the same commissioner who won't allow some of us to go see our children. Why is that? We have to fight to prove we're fit, but people who aren't fit can just turn around and say, you know what, I don't think this is okay, and they get what they want. There's no evidence. They don't care. It's time they start caring. It's not their children they have to deal with. You think if they got put in that position, they're going to pay an attorney tens of thousands of dollars? No. They know the system. They're going to do what they have to do, and people are going to listen because of their seat. They're not going to have to fight like we do. They don't have to go through the troubles that we go through. You have anything you want to say? Oh, yes, I almost forgot. Sorry. Stephanie and I are trying to build a support group here in Thurston County, and we want to branch out from there. The idea is to help with parents who have been through the same process, parents who are going through alienation, separation from their kids. A place you could go to talk to parents who are dealing with the same thing. Just, a general support group, a place for resources. We've got people who have tons of resources. I mean, constantly. We're talking, there's a few people here today. We talk nearly every day, probably close to 3-4 hours a day if you add it all up, between about, I think there's 8 of us in there now. And it's just resources. You got a question, you ask. You're curious about an attorney, you ask. Somebody in the group has answers. Don't know how to file paperwork. Don't know what paperwork to go for. Don't know what to do for your next step. We're all there for each other, and we're trying to build this whole community. The idea is, co-parenting. You got to co-parent, regardless of the outcome of the two parents. You got to co-parent for the children. It's not about what the parents want. It's about what the children need. And that's the biggest thing to keep in mind. It's all for the kids. You shouldn't... They're not tools. They're not pawns. Our job as parents is to give our kids a good, stable life, set them up for future. If we're keeping them from the other parent, how are you setting them up for future? You're just setting them up for failure. And that's about all I got today. I'm going to have a sheet up here for those, if anybody's interested. If you could just write down name and email for that, for the support group. Again, we're trying to start it here in Thurston County. It's all connected. Kyle's been a tremendous help with me on getting that going. And we are trying to outsource and reach out with other counties and other groups to get everything set and try to make this all work together here.
Please everybody sign up, because there's strength in numbers. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Because we're so spread out with Pierce County, Thurston County, Kitsap County, Kyle and I have been talking about having something on a Sunday where people don't have to take time off for the support group. It doesn't cost anything. We'll provide the snacks and water, the videos, documentaries, just help and advice where we can all sit down and just share our stories, relate, get advice. The local libraries in the area also provide free venues so that we have a kind of a central place until we have more numbers and can branch out from there. And yeah, I'm on the same, clearly the same page as Patrick. I've been through all the courts with him to support him in this. My divorce was rather easy. I mean, we could have walked in holding hands. We had no disputes. It hasn't been as it is with Patrick's.